Hey everybody, my name is Amber Kuiper and I am just thrilled to be able to talk to you today about how I implement the 3 vital behaviors into my Beachbody business. So I am a mom of 4. I am a blogger over at Mommy's Me Time, and that's really what started me in this whole journey and fired me up. I was hearing from my readers all the time about how they just didn't have the energy they needed for their family. They didn't feel like they could have the confidence they needed to really love their husband well. And so what I got so excited about was having the chance to really help them. And the reason that I share that with you when we're talking about the 3 vital behaviors is because I've learned that it is just so important for me to constantly be remembering my target market when I am implementing things like this, because it is about them. It is about how I can serve them. It's not about me and what I think is a great idea. It's about what they need in their lives. And so let's just get started and talk about professional development. I am just going to be honest with you. My days are full of noise, and oftentimes it's tough to find time to read. If I read, it will be after my kids go to bed, and at that point, usually my head will hit the pillow and I will be to sleep in seconds. And so what I have learned during this season of life is that it is way more effective for me, like many of you do, is to listen to podcasts and to listen to things that I can just have on in the background. One sure way that I do this every day is that I listen to something when I'm running. I will run a mile or 2 to warm up for my Beachbody workout, and while I'm doing that, I will just listen to something. Maybe it's Chalene Johnson, or it's a favorite pastor of mine. I love listening to Louis Giglio. I love listening to Francis Chan. Those are a couple of my favorites. And so I just really value that 10 to 15 minutes. But when I'm doing that, I'm usually at the gym or I'm outside. And so if I just simply listen and then go on to the next activity, I'm not going to remember that nugget of information. So I have a special note section on my phone that I will just quickly put in those little nuggets into so that I can remember them later on when I want to encourage my team, when I want to encourage a client. And so I think it's key that we are actually taking note of the things that we are filling our minds with when it's done via audio. And then another way that personal development is just huge for me is just by having one-on-one quality conversations with people I love and respect. And so if I'm having one of those down weeks when I'm feeling a little discouraged, when I'm feeling like I just am not inspired, I will reach out to someone who I respect, who is a mentor to me, and we'll just grab coffee. And those coffee dates are life-giving. Yeah, she might not have written a book. She might not have had a top podcast. She doesn't even have a podcast at all. But she has the wisdom, and because we're connected, I'm just a strong believer that I needed to hear what she had to tell me that day. And so that is huge, just staying connected with the people I love, because you know what? It can get really busy as a Beachbody coach. I was talking to one of my coaches the other day and we said, gosh, isn't it hard sometimes to find that balance between staying in touch with your Beachbody coaches and Beachbody family and then the people outside of that? And it is a little bit tricky. But I think if we are just constantly making that a priority and making sure that we are using their wisdom to really help us, that will just be key, because I guarantee when you're meeting with them, you are also pouring into their lives as well. And so the next thing let's talk about is being proof of the product. So here's the deal. I have learned since starting this, you guys, that it is so much more about losing weight, right? It is so much more than, getting to be a certain size. However, it took me a little while to figure that out. When I started, I just wanted to lose the baby weight. That's what it took me to get started. And so for me personally, it is absolutely key that I am showing progress photos in some capacity on a regular basis. That I am showing what I looked like before I started Beachbody and what I look like now. Not so that I can get compliments to say, oh, you look great, you've lost weight, but it's really so that I can touch those busy moms again who might have in their minds baby weight to lose, and that's why they would want to start the program. But if I am not putting out something that they can relate to, they are never going to give me the chance to help them discover that it's more than about how we look. And so I, in my business, tell my coaches, I tell myself regularly that even though it's a little uncomfortable to share pictures of ourselves, it is so important to really be relatable and to draw people in so that you can then help them realize that it's about so much more than weight and size. So before and after pictures are key. And then the last thing is inviting people. So this is related to my strong belief in just showing that we're proof of the product, but I believe that we can either be storytellers or story doers. A lot of people are storytellers, and that's just fine. Being a storyteller is great. Everyone loves listening to a great story. But what's even more powerful than being a storyteller is being a story doer. When you can actually show, which we can because of Instagram and Facebook, these amazing tools, what we can actually do is show that we are doing the story that we're telling about. We don't just get text anymore, we get actual pictures. We can use video. We can show the world that we are in fact doing the things that we are saying we're doing. And with that comes the responsibility to be authentic. If I can share one tip that has grown my blog, that has grown my business, it is simply being relatable. It's being a real person. It is sharing my struggles in the hopes of being relatable to someone else. It's sharing my story with the hope of encouraging and inspiring someone else. So when I am sharing about my story, when I'm sharing about my life, I am constantly using I statements. Even if it's a lead generator, even if I want people to come and let me help them, I'm using I statements. I'm telling my story. I'm sharing about how, yep, I was there. I was eating Chinese and pizza and anything else under the sun before I got started on my healthy living journey. I was there. I get what that feels like. I get how it's convenient. But I'm here to tell you that even though you're a busy mom, even though you don't have any time during the day, you can make time. Even though you think it feels impossible, there is hope for you to do this too. And so when I'm inviting you guys, I am just sharing my story. That's all we're called to do in this life, right? Is just share who we are, share about what makes us unique. Because in the end, people will reach out to you because they trust you. And they'll trust you because you are real, because you're sharing your story, you're being a story doer, you are being authentic. And so that's the number one tip with inviting, is just be you, because you are uniquely designed. You have influence in your circle that only you have, that no one else has. And so we just need to be so mindful of how we can be inspiring others without projecting on them, without saying, you should do this, you should do that, but how we are really coming alongside them to say, you know what, this is my story. I don't know if you can relate. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. But in case you can, this is my story, and this is how I got out of that. And I'd love to help you if you can relate at all. So that's it, you guys. Just sharing from an authentic place in your heart, because it's all about heart issues, isn't it? And so I'm excited for you to just kick off January and share your heart, to share your story, to inspire so many people who can only be inspired by you. So let's do this. Let's just kick off the year and help as many people as we can.